And
Oh,
Joint.
okay. Are we-
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 on Zoom. That's good.
Yeah.
And
All right, great. Thank you all for being here. As I mentioned, Linnea is on her way. I think our first point of business is to vote on the minutes from the November 17th meeting. So do we have any discussion on those minutes? Okay, great.
Very good
Thank
as
you.
always.
Great. Can I hear a motion to approve them?
I so move.
Okay, second. Jen seconds. All in favor? Aye. Great, it's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Next is work group reports. Communications, do you want to wait until Teresa's here or do you want to?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
wait.
She's the only one that knows anything.
Okay, great.
No, that's not true. I will say that the communications work group that we missed you, Jason, and Eli were happily enjoyed judging the gingerbread house.
Oh, yes,
contest.
yes.
That was so fun.
Oh,
Oh my
good.
gosh.
Yeah,
Thank you
we
for
did
coming.
well.
Yes.
You all mocked me over the submarine, which
We ended up winning something, didn't it?
and
The
you all
staff
mocked
pick,
me.
yeah.
So there you go. We did not mock you, kids.
Yeah.
We merely disagreed. Wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
Good to
Great.
be.
I know the DEAI group hasn't met, so I'll say for collaboration, we've been working on getting the artist live work study money through the CIP process, which I think the final hurdle in that was last Monday night. I went and made some remarks about it and I did not stay to hear if it passed, but it sounds like it did.
Yep, no
Okay.
one said anything more about
Great,
it. And so
wonderful.
it stayed in the CIP, so it passed in the CIP budget. It, I should caution, I don't think that there will be any problems, by the way, but the final budget is adopted in June. So people can still come back and amend the CIP later.
Mhm.
If we find that the regular budget comes in not where we're anticipating, it can happen. I don't anticipate it.
Do we need representation at that meeting or are we done? in
Only if
terms
I
of-
hear rumors,
Okay.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
But,
So good news so far.
right, we usually don't reopen the CIP.
Yeah.
But there is a chance we will reopen the CIP for some other things that we're anticipating having more information on later.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that might change things, but
Can I ask on so if it goes through legal, would an RFP process begin after the budget's approved?
yes, the earliest is July 1.
Okay.
Because this is the budget that starts July 1. So that's the earliest. Now, sometimes what they do is they go ahead and do an RFP a little earlier because they know it's in the CAP.
Right.
So,
There's no-
so that they have a start date of July 1, right? And they won't drop a contract with anyone until after the budget is there.
So would it be an RFP process? Because the way it was presented was contract, not
Right.
RFP.
It was presented that way and hopefully it depends on how they draw the contract. Because technically anything over 50,000 has to have an RFP. But if they draw the contract as this study and then this study added on, then it doesn't meet the 50,000 threshold. So
That's right.
And when would we know that?
I think that's gonna be up to finance and procurement. And John, talking to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
John will have to talk to finance and procurement and
Yeah.
figure out what the process will be for that and to the city managers. Because once it gets into procurement, it's completely out of the political hands of the council.
So we did the RFP for the cultural plan. I recall that taking, I don't know, let's call it 2 to 3 months, something like that. So just in the essence of time and trying to stay on this and keeping things moving along, should we, I think Sean, you gave us a template and then we had to, for the RFP and then we personalized it based on what we were looking for. Should we kind of sort of earmark this for the spring? That I just don't, anytime that we can kind of make up
Yeah.
and continue to keep things moving, I think would be a good thing. I know we all agree about that.
So a couple things. Since that experience you had,
Yeah,
we have automated our RFP process. It is a lot less of a paper process that literally I would walk around and ask for signatures.
Mhm.
Now it's in a system then there's templates and such. So I think the biggest question is this going to go out to bid? Or will it go directly to a contract? That's my question in my mind, so I can track that down.
Is that gonna be the question in finance's mind also? I mean, they're looking for guidance on this thing that we just threw their way. Who's gonna have the answer to it?
Seems to me everything passes through legal,
Yeah.
so.
Say, I mean, just a couple quick thoughts there. I did not realize that the city had secured in some way, shape or form art space before. And they had spent 2 full days here, according to Russ Brazier. So I thought that was really good information to know. And with very positive feedback from Russ was also good to hear. So I would say between that, the fact that we got art space through a developer, Hua, and we have had pretty extensive dialogue with them before this whole process got underway. I don't know if anybody has a
And this
different
was the-
experience. This is what they do. So,
Yeah, it's,
yeah.
I think it's more of a, on the city side of, what is the procurement process? Because, someone could certainly question a single source
Mhm,
versus an RFP. Someone could say that's not fair,
yeah,
which we're very sensitive to.
yeah.
Do you have a process for, I mean, when I did
Yeah.
procurement for the government, sole source procurements were not uncommon. And
But
there was a, like, sort of a checklist.
Yeah, there's guidelines.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We just need to, this is, it's a new thing, and if it were to move forward, I can just, to your point, spring, we're asking a question about if everything's holds here, what's the best way to move forward with this on July 1st?
Can I ask too, with that, if, with whatever the study, form the study takes, if it's Art Space or someone else, is that gonna be under Arts and Culture Commission's kind of purview, or is that gonna live with a different,
When you say purview. what-
like, who will be doing the RFP, who will Art Space be meeting with? I'm assuming we're gonna be involved with the process.
Yes,
Is that you,
because it's a-
like,
because it's-
planning or?
No,
what?
because it's a contract with the
Okay.
city. A city employee.
Right.
This is what happened with, that
Yeah.
happened. This is what my experience in the past. We're spending city money. I'm gonna be accountable.
Mhm, right,
So, but with Park, they were obviously very involved in the Pierce Island piece, but I was the one dealing with the artist.
Mhm.
And making sure that the city's, is covered in terms of me saying yes, no, and yes.
Yeah.
Great.
As your liaison, that is one of my
But it's
roles.
still analogous to when we contracted for the planning report. That despite that, we were the ones that did the face-to-face in terms
Yeah.
of escorting them through, discussing it.
Yeah. Organizing
lining
the
up
focus group. Yeah.
volunteers.
Oh, yeah, you still get to do all the work. I just have to sign up.
Sean, yeah.
There's a lot more of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was.
Okay.
unintended.
It was good.
Great. I don't think there's anything else from our collaboration work group. That's been our big focus unless there's anything else.
Pretty big,
Thing.
though.
Yeah, it's exciting to feel like it's all moving forward. So
Mhm.
that's great.
Just another quick question. Where do things stand with the possibility for an arts district? Is that that moved into the master planning?
That's part of the master
plan?
planning
Okay,
process now.
Great, okay.
Well, at least the request went in, so that's now in the purview of the planning board.
You mean the arts overlay?
Arts overlay.
Yeah, our arts overlay district, that request went to planning board.
Is there any?
What we can do to advocate for it.
Yeah,
So the master plan consultant will be presenting their findings through all their surveys and all their on the ground work, and then it'll be made public, and that there'll be a lot more opportunity for public input to what they presented. So that's the next opportunity to.
Right,
And
but
when-
would we have an opportunity to talk to the consultant prior to it being published?
No.
No.
Only because they're literally publishing it now.
Mhm.
I mean, they use 6 months to gather input, and I'll tell you what the EDC did. They were asking the same question. And what the EDC did was basically just set their own priorities and put it into a format and delivered it to the consultant to the planning board, because the EDC chair and the planning board chair were talking.
Okay.
But it's all I
So
just
because
said.
it's already embedded in the report we gave them.
Right, yeah, that input's there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when they come back and say, this is what we heard, you get a, as the mayor likes to say, another bite at the apple.
And when would that be, Sean, just so we can continue
I
to
believe that's gonna
Just
come out in
forward.
January.
in the beginning of January?
Well, yes,
Right. Do we have a date on that?
I know.
Can we get one? Cause that's only a few weeks away. Just thinking if we do need to be there, just to
Oh,
continue to push that
yeah.
through. or
Oh, yeah, I
advocate.
don't think there's no date set. I know they are scheduled to make it public and then schedule meetings starting
Okay,
after the
got it.
first.
Okay,
There's not.
so we'll
there's
keep a
no
lookout for that.
Meeting date set.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like that's all from collaboration. Teresa, do you have a communications work group report for us?
Nothing super formal this month. We did get the vinyl clings for the different windows. I of course forgot them today. Classic. And I came directly from another meeting, so that's why I was a little late. But I think that the best bet will be to drop off a majority of them with the chamber. That's my,
I think I'll just say, I think, yeah, this group needs a distribution plan. The chamber's happy to help. If you don't know, it's Local Love on Thursday night, actually all day Thursday.
Good.
So, maybe there's an opportunity to just let, because I feel like when someone drops them off, they need to explain to the retailer what it is, right?
right.
Because this is, you all developed this and got the stickers, but they may not know as an individual retailer
Mhm.
what it's about, because the chamber wasn't overly aware.
It's gonna have like a little, a note.
But maybe
that
I
goes with it, like a
could type
little-
up a little blurb that just
Yeah.
describes what we're doing, and then like, my thing is not being anything long and just cut like little strips that go with it, so whoever's getting it, picking it up, dropping it off, they can just hand that over, cause I also feel like if it's a local business, the person who's working there
Yep,
may not have anything to do with what goes in the window, or it may just be holidays.
For sure.
Yes.
be very helpful.
So I
What happened to me at the kitchen? They were like, well, no, you have to put those things in the bathroom. I said, no, this is for the window. This is the City Arts Commission. And she said, oh, I have to ask the manager. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
So I can do that, and then, yeah, my goal is to get those out sooner rather than later. I'm now done commuting to New York City, so I'm a little more locally available, so.
Congratulations.
I'm done this week. I'm
Yeah.
going home after this to finish a paper, and then it's looking for good.
Hey.
So otherwise, I'm filming Emma tomorrow. I filmed Karen. Karen, sorry, I really need to edit that too. But my goal is to put those two videos together to try and kind of shape it, and I think I'm in good shape now to have those at the next meeting for us to review. If anyone else is interested, I know it's now the holidays, but even before January 9th, just email me and set up a time, and if you have an idea.
What's the second video?
Who is it? Emma.
I'm doing one tomorrow.
Okay.
You didn't come to the parade to photograph them.
I was out of the city again.
Oh, okay, I was,
How I miss all the fun events. But yes,
it would
you
have
in the wild taking pictures and doing that stuff would be definitely good.
been standing there on a
Smith.
Yeah,
standing there on a step stool and waiting for the parade, and I was waiting for you to come.
you know, and I missed the whole event. I was in Boston actually.
I know we can
Um,
find photos.
Yeah, definitely would be good. I think that would be just good to start getting out there. So maybe at the next meeting, we can plan to, depending on how good it looks, approve it and maybe get one posted and out there and start kind of get the wheels going on that.
Teresa, I have a video of myself and Leah Woods that's at the Courier. And it loops at the show, but it's already done. You want me, I mean, would that,
If you want to send it to me,
I don't
maybe-
actually have it.
Okay.
I'd only be able to put you in touch with the guy who did it.
Oh, okay. So what I did for Karen's was I filmed her teaching the class, and then she and I did like a 2-minute of her just kind of speaking. And so what our thought process was behind that was while Karen was speaking, I was gonna cut to the different clips of her actually like doing the teaching, where that would obviously be muted with her voice talking through what the home ordinance change like meant for her home studio and other things that we're working on as well.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the plan for that. So then it kind of showed both Karen in her element as well as talking about what we did as a commission to like support that.
And one woman didn't want her face shown, but she's
Yes.
okay with her hands
Yeah.
being shown, so.
Which was totally fine. I think we got some good stuff from what I've looked at, so it's just a matter of putting it all together. So Jeffrey, what I was thinking is, you know, if you have something you want to speak to, any clip of you at the museum, we could maybe cut in as well to
Some
support
B-roll.
that. Yeah, some B-roll.
Okay.
But yeah, I just want to make sure, like, I feel like I reviewed the original plan I sent out and I was like, okay, are we still on track for that? So maybe that's just something, I think Sean sent it out in October. But it might be worth it for everyone to just relook at that as well and make sure that still feels like what we're doing. And I'll do the same as well. But otherwise, I think.
Yeah, this should all fall on you though, Teresa.
Yes, well, that's, I just want to make sure it's something that feels right for the, like, us to be working on. Like, I'm still happy to like film it all and put all the videos together, but I do want to make sure our message is like very clear still. And I feel like it can be easy to lose the reins on that. Like, what's the point of this video series, which we started to talk about last month too. And I know we talked about like not just doing artists, maybe highlighting some artists. So I think just still narrowing down who are we going to film after this? What are we as a group setting up for? I think is super important. Because from my perspective, like it'd be great for us to talk about what we're doing in this room. As well as what our organizations are doing as well. So
But also like for a distribution plan for the stickers, so.
yeah.
So Sean, with the chamber, would we just give them some that they would have there? Or we had talked to Ben about it, but we never
Right,
weren't ready yet, so.
right. So, well, a couple things. Not everybody's a chamber member. And they've got a lot of members, but I think I just think there needs to be a distribution plan. And I think the note saying what it is, because the retailer is a couple things. You don't always get the manager. I mean, you get the manager, not the owner, whomever. It's in their high season right now. And then it's gonna go right to the depths of the low season. I think, and if you haven't heard, we're gonna dig up Congress Street after the new year. All that to say, I would encourage you getting them out there and engaging with the retailers now and saying, here's what it is, and then maybe there's an opportunity to circle back afterwards when it's slower.
Do you want to publicize this at all? Put something in the newsletter or on the city's Facebook page or something,
Yep.
what 20th century or maybe 21st.
Yeah.
It was also included very lightly in the article. Has that been since last month? I'm like losing track of time, but that second article was posted in the Seacoast Online about the pumpkin people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was out there, and I think, pretty sure there's a mention of an outcoming sticker and series. So we've definitely talked about it. But
So now we can say it's here.
Yeah, if someone other than Teresa would like to send me a blurb
Looking at me.
from
Jake.
someone other than, I'm happy to get it, work with Monty and get something out.
Yeah, I think that'd be useful. I mean,
Yeah.
It's city sponsored, so it works.
next I was at an art gallery, I have some photos and I should have brought one along because it was an open house that night. Yeah.
So you've got local love this Thursday, you've got art around town Friday, January 2nd. So there's just, we've got this last push of we'll get your message out and then circling back after things.
And I am a new member of the Chamber Collaborative, and I went to a new member orientation this morning, and I actually can create a news event if that would be helpful. And I can say something, if you give me the little blurb, and I can say that the stickers are available on behalf of the commission. At, the Chamber Collaborative, and to go ahead and pick yours up, but include that little blurb, and that goes out to all the members.
Yeah,
So I can, if that would be helpful, I'm happy to post that, or anybody else if they would like to.
Yeah, and I can put together the blurb, and I don't think it will be too hard to adapt it to just a general message, so I can
yeah.
put that together.
So you're gonna send that to Sean?
Sure.
And to Karen?
Yeah.
So my question is, are people willing, have the time of us to go around and say, okay, we'll each do 10 businesses? I mean, otherwise it's not a plan.
Yeah, we got
Teresa, do all this.
250 of them, which is quite a lot.
Mhm.
So
How many did Sean take already?
50. Did you?
And I
No,
have some.
25.
Yeah, I grabbed a few.
I was thinking a place like the Athenaeum might also be a good place to put it in the window, because it's, people walk by there and they say, what is this place? So at least they'll see the sticker and
Yeah.
get thinking. I'll ask Tom Hardiman about.
Let's make a list so we don't duplicate any.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
List of all businesses.
So is that something, I was wondering that is if we should make some sort of checklist of everywhere we'd like to hit, but I don't know if that's sort of its own beast.
Well, is it something that, not to have too many cooks in the kitchen, but is it something that the communications group can just take a first stab at and then send to the full group, and then we send back this business, this one, and add to it?
Yeah,
I'm
We can do that.
realizing that shared docs amongst all of us don't really work for quorum rules, but
I have an easier suggestion. I think we should all just pick 10 businesses that we would take it to, you can send it to me, and if there's any duplicates, I'll let you know.
And
I
maybe
mean,
10 places that we go
Because
to on a
places come and go,
regular
yeah,
basis
I mean,
anyway,
right. So
We're gonna be there.
does that sound?
Sure.
I'll bug you, okay.
Please
Okay.
don't forget the West End.
Yes,
Well,
The West End.
yes.
I've already
And-
done a couple there.
likely to forget that I live there.
I know, but like further
Just-
down in the West End.
Oh,
Don't forget that.
I go down, that's where all the restaurants are opening.
Yeah,
It's near and
think
dear
we're
to me too, so.
likely to have a real response
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
And also, businesses outside of the core,
yeah.
because we're more likely, and if somebody, I don't know, you'd have to clear this with the chamber, but you can ask if you could take them to like a chamber after hours event or,
Mhm.
and hand them out.
Networking sessions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't think people are gonna respond to an appeal so much because it just won't register to them that they need to go pick something up.
Right.
But if you hand it to them,
Yeah, the chamber, they grew their membership this year, so they're up over 800. They're doing really great work. And they've got a tourism summit that they're planning for the end of January to get that on your all's radar, because people come here because of our art scene, right?
Be a
So
good opportunity.
something else to think about.
So maybe the little blurb, so we're all using the same elevator speech, I think would be helpful, probably, even before we approach these
Maybe include
establishments.
instructions.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't even know how to do it, so.
I put it on our door and it fell off.
Yeah,
Did you figure it out?
It
Is
worked fine on both sides of ours. Like it's either
Did it
front or
stay?
rear.
Could be the
You did?
temperature.
It's not intuitive
There.
though, because like you
Yeah.
think
It's
you're
not
peeling it off
sticky.
and you think, and
yeah,
But
and I think it
Karen,
has
they
to
might need
be.
some moisture.
Little
Yeah, I
water.
think you have to wet it a little bit. I'm not a Klingsy, but that's where I remember.
Oh, okay.
I used to put them in my car all the time for my
Yeah.
kid, because we commuted, so we put like clings for every holiday. And a little water.
Little
Goes a long
water,
way.
or maybe we put that right in the instructions.
Yes.
Yep,
Just a little,
yeah,
tiny, like just a little bit
Because I
of.
think
yes.
we're at the gingerbread thing, we literally like had one, we're like, how does this stick
Yeah.
to anything? We're like.
That was pretty funny.
It's like, what did we just buy?
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, I'll come up with some concise instructions on how not to get it wrong to stick it to your window. And I'll make a blurb about what it is, and then I think I'll just slightly adjust that as an announcement
Yep.
that Karen, you can send out
Yeah.
and the city can send out.
And I'll contact everybody about where they'd like to take.
Perfect.
And then
That
you
sounds
have
good.
all the clings, right? So we
I have
need to get those from you to pass out to the businesses. Okay.
Yes, and I'm happy to bring those anywhere
Great.
at any time, now that I'm available. So I don't have a job. Free. Yes, I think that's it from communications though. Just would really like to get that going,
Mhm.
rolling.
off the ground. Great. Thank you. Okay, and Lene, I'm assuming you have no DEAI group update. Great. Well, that kind of rolls us into the next topic, which is commission business and updates on commission membership. So as we discussed last time, we have some folks that are rolling off the commission and some folks who are interested. So for an update on the folks who are rolling off, both Catherine and Courtney Perkins from Prescott Park Arts Festival are rolling off. So that's one resident and one organization. And also Mandela reached out to us at the end of last week to officially resign from the commission. She regrets that she just doesn't have the capacity to take it on at this time. And we let her know that if her kind of circumstances change, she'd be welcome to rejoin us. But I think she'd have to go through the reapplication process. So that's 3 vacancies. And Mandela represented, can you
No,
remind me?
Mandela was an alternate.
She was an alternate.
She was an alternate. And so I can tell you from looking at it.
Okay.
We have 2 people here that need to renew this year because their terms expire and we're not planning on you leaving. So that's Jeffrey and Eli will need to put in applications. Eli, you can put in an application for a resident membership.
That's helpful.
Resident.
We are down a resident membership. So, and Jeffrey's already is an artist, and so he can put in a request for renewal.
It's a request for renewal. It's not the full application.
It's a request for renewal
To the city clerk.
to the city clerk.
And that's online, or I just stop over there and fill it out?
I can
You can send
make
an
sure.
email to the city clerk's office. That way they all get it.
Yeah.
And if you copy me, I'll keep an eye on it.
Is it an actual form or do you just write an email saying, I would like to renew?
So,
Yeah, it's a reappointment. Sometimes they still want the application and resume.
Okay.
We can
Can I just
see what
walk
they.
down there after the meeting and say?
ask them what the process is.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you want.
Yeah, because I'm gonna walk down there after the meeting and give them the terms list anyway, so they have it.
I'll join you, Jeff.
And then we'll have 2 organizational openings, because Courtney's leaving and Eli's organization is leaving. You know, we don't want
So-
Eli to leave,
But
and we have 2.
2, yeah. Well, I think we had discussed this last time. I spoke to Margarita at Players Ring. She is very interested in joining and is going to submit her application. And I also happened to have coffee this morning with Sarah from the Makerspace. She is also very interested in joining.
So is 3S Art Space.
So is 3.
Oh,
Okay.
3S expressed interest like months ago.
Ann
Okay.
Hope Anderson, I don't have her married name, but from the Chamber Collaborative.
Is she a resident
Puzo, yes, she
Yes.
is.
of Portsmouth?
So
Okay.
we have an alternate opening as well.
Okay,
Hope would be really good.
So, yes.
we make her aware, because I have not, other than her telling me she was interested, I haven't had any more dialogue back and forth with her.
She's my neighbor. I can message her
Oh, okay.
and tell her she
Not
should
gonna do
apply. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, okay, so you'll do that? You'll do
Wouldn't be an
that? Okay, thank
organization.
you.
It's-
No.
No.
She'd be a resident.
But a great liaison for chamber.
Huge, like as we were talking about how to get things out, I was like, Hope is the
Yeah.
one who needed to.
So
It's the
know that.
marketing,
Yeah.
yeah.
For future reference, cityclerk@portsmouthnh.gov. And that, what I like about that is there it goes to all 3 people in the city clerk's office.
can you repeat that?
cityclerk@portsmouthnh.gov,
Is the application
there,
posted?
all lowercase.
Oh,
I don't know I don't know about this.
Anymore.
Can't read it anymore.
Renewal versus application, that the technical.
First person.
I don't know. You could email and say, I'm interested in renewing, what's the process?
I will reach out to both
Government.
Eli and Jeffrey with that information, because I have to carry this to the clerk's office anyway.
Yeah.
So that
Great,
he has
thank
the
you.
terms list.
I think they're just gonna walk down with you, that's what they.
Yeah, that's fine. And we'll figure that out when we're there. And we can also see if there are any applications already in.
Yes,
See how long.
Just because though somebody applied, goes in.
yes, right. We know
So
that.
I'm confused between Players Ring, 3S and Makerspace.
Makerspace only expressed interest this morning, and I think if we were given the choice, it sounds like 3S and Players Ring would be a top priority for the
Okay, Because I'm thinking back,
They're
the
okay.
Makerspace reached out to
Be an
way
alternate
at
or
the
something, though.
beginning.
She is.
Hold on, sorry, Jeffrey was talking.
I'm sorry,
Jeffrey, go
I'm
ahead.
remembering that when we first started, Makerspace reached out to us
Yes.
with their dilemma. I don't even know how that resolved.
Right,
But,
I think they're
You
still
know, I'm
working
thinking
on it.
because there was a contact way back then.
Yeah.
It would be great to have them in.
Right.
The reason that 3S reached out a while ago
Okay.
They
and
did.
asked about specifically commission membership
Mhm.
for the organization. And the reason they reached out is they've got a board member who served on the Arts Commission for the city of Worcester and developed their cultural plan for them and did a lot of work on workforce housing for artists in Worcester. And so she has,
Who is that?
I don't know her name. She
Oh.
has considerable experience though. And so she,
Board member?
it's a board member for 3S Art Space, and that they can, it doesn't matter who they choose to
Okay.
represent them.
Yeah.
It is totally a choice on their part. It's the same thing,
And,
like
yeah.
Teresa could technically represent New Hampshire Art Association if she had applied as New Hampshire Art Association.
Well, maybe somebody from Makerspace could join as an individual.
Yeah,
So I just want to say, I'm the one who talked to Sarah. She's the new ED at Makerspace, and I told her that
yeah,
she should apply because she is new to the area, but really, really interested in collaborating with as many different organizations as she can. And she has some very interesting visions for
Mhm.
collaborative art spaces. So I mean, both players bringing 3S are also great, but you know, maybe we could get her as an alternate or something. I'm just saying, I think she would be a fabulous member.
Or we knew that people can be a part of work groups.
Yeah,
As well,
maybe that's
so
another
that's
way.
why I was just thinking like the collaboration work group, she could be fantastic
yeah.
to get
I just,
foot in the door.
I just
and
would
then- yep.
hate to let
Hey.
her drop is all.
Yep.
So
Yep.
here's what I think
I
is
can't
really,
remember.
really important to know
Look it up.
is that we have 2 other organizational members rotating off a year from now,
Mhm.
these 2.
Mhm.
So we will have 2 more organizational memberships coming up. And as much as I don't want to lose either of them,
Mhm.
the ordinance is written in such a way that organizations get 1 term and then they have to rotate off, then they can reapply later to give everybody a fair shot. So we're only a year away from 2 other organizations being able to apply. So if somebody got involved, if we knew people, there were organizations that wanted to get involved, wanted to do work groups, wanted to sit on some of our
Mm.
our regular work groups and help with that, and then apply, we could. I know another person who desperately wants to be on the commission and represents an organization as well.
Mm.
But unfortunately, there are a lot of organizations that are interested.
So that, on the agenda, this conversation is mostly just to take stock of where we're at.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to make recommendations or choices, because that still falls on the chairs and Kate, right?
That's the mayor's choice.
Mayor's
The mayor gets to choose.
Yeah, we don't. yeah.
Ultimately, he appoints.
I'm guessing we have enough spaces right now. Do we have enough interest? Should we, I mean, are there any other non-organizations that are cycling off right now?
No, the only people technically cycling off are Catherine Mandela. But we were oversubscribed. We had 1 too many people.
Okay. Okay.
And then the 2 organizations, PMAC and Prescott Park Arts Festival. So we really only we're 4 that are leaving. We only have 4 spots because we have an alternate spot.
Right.
So we really only have 3 spots and an alternate spot, 2 organizational, 1 resident, 1 alternate. And the alternate doesn't have to be anything in particular.
Eli is not actually a renewal because he's serving.
I'd be a new application.
Yeah, he's
okay.
serving as a,
Because I'm changing my affiliation.
but he's currently on, and so,
I mean, it's a shoo-in, I mean, but it's not the procedure.
yeah, I think that everybody has to fill out the application anyway. It's just the way that it comes to us as the council, which is really interesting because you get all the applications for everyone, even if they've been on the board forever. But it says reappointment or appointment.
Yeah.
That's the only difference, to be honest.
That's that's after the mayor has presented them, like if there's 6 for 2 positions, you only see the 2.
We only see 2.
You don't see the 2, you don't see the 6. That's the
Exactly.
mayor's.
So online, it says view vacancies. It doesn't say any vacancies for this.
That's right,
We haven't
because-
brought the list over yet.
They're waiting
So
to hear
when
from
we
me.
bring this over- When we bring this over, what's it gonna say in terms of vacancies?
It'll say that we need 1 resident, 2 organizations, and 1 alternate.
Okay.
That's what it'll say.
And that comes out in the city newsletter too. I've seen.
Yeah,
Yeah, she has to advertise it.
Yeah.
She has to advertise it in the newspaper.
Yep.
The vacancies. Right now, she has a good window to do that. Because the first council meeting where we can appoint is January. I want to say, let's see, let me look really fast. I don't want to give you wrong information. January 19th, or no, January 20th is the first meeting. And that would be a nomination. And so those nominations wouldn't even be voted until February the 2nd. So I was going to suggest also to the clerk, because everyone was appointed in December 18th, which is really a difficult time frame. I'm going to suggest to the clerk that people's membership terms do not expire until January 15th. So that we know that we have openings coming, because
It doesn't allow for the overlap.
Right.
yeah, it's really hard. December's hard because you have your council changes every few years. And so then you don't know if the mayor is the outgoing mayor, or you've got a different incoming mayor. It's always better, I think, to have appointments in well within another term.
Is setting those terms, the length of the term, something that we need to vote on at the commission? We set all of our other rules.
We can, so this is the thing that isn't in our ordinance, which is kind of crazy. There's an assumption that a term is 3 years. But they aren't all 3 years. So what I did is I took the assumption that they're 3 years, and the clerk took the assumption that they're 3 years. And we set the first term as who was going to be in a year term, who's going to be 2, and who was going to be 3. So we could set up a rotation. And then from then on out, everybody's term should be 3 years.
Right.
Is basically, and if anybody resigns early in the process, you appoint somebody to fill their term.
fill the term, not new term.
Not for 3 years. So, so that's the situation with Cassandra. I have Cassandra filling a term, that ends in 2027.
Got
So she'll still be on for, but it's not quite a full 3 years because she's filling a vacated term. So,
Makes sense.
yeah, so then we get a healthy rotation.
Counselor, while you're doing all that work, this Heather Loney question. Okay, I can discard that.
Yeah.
Great.
So I think that puts us in a good rotation. And next year, the applications would be for 2027 would be Jen, Jason, Karen, and Teresa would come up. Or that was last year. So you guys are technically all in your second term. Because you should have been reappointed last year.
Congratulations.
I know.
Thank you.
We're all-
The application project.
So you guys are in a second term. I didn't put any organizations in that because I didn't think it was fair to have any organizations that should have only have a 1-year term ever. I
Makes
think that's
sense.
wrong. And so then next year it's Ken, Linnea, Emma, and Cassandra come up next year. So
It seems like the only procedural
Those
thing,
two
that all
things.
makes sense. The only procedural thing that would need to be figured out, and it's still a question in my mind, if it's our responsibility or the clerk's responsibility or the mayor's responsibility, is if we can extend it to overlap beyond the calendar year to fill that.
Right, because like when we meet on January 9th, which I think is just a working meeting, but it would be nice to have people official, I think, right?
no one will get appointed at this stage, no matter what. I don't
Right.
think until at least January the 19th.
Yeah.
Because it takes 2 council meetings.
Yeah.
We have one on the 22nd though. So there is a possibility that we could get a few applications in if they go now, but the mayor has to make a decision by this Wednesday
Yeah.
to put you on the agenda. And the chances of that happening, pretty slim, I think. Because they also have to advertise the spaces. So the earliest is February. It doesn't matter though. People serve until somebody is appointed to fulfill your spot.
Oh, okay. So like Eli and Jeffrey can come to the retreat on,
Oh, yes,
Got it.
100%. You serve until somebody fills your.
Right, but if we know the 3S and the players rank, we know that that's what it's gonna be. It's not as if the mayor's gonna.
We don't know that.
No,
The mayor
The
can,
mayor makes the decision.
the mayor has made
so it's not
decisions.
necessarily a rubber stamp.
No.
And the reason I'm asking is because if the players ring and three of us are gonna join, it'd be great to have them there January 9th.
It would be.
But can they come? Or is the retreat is only for members?
Technically,
It's-
anybody can come.
Right,
It's open to
technically
the public.
anyone can
Public
come
meeting.
because it's a public meeting.
It's a public meeting, so,
They can't participate as a member, but they could
right,
they could hear everything that's said,
Yeah.
But can they comment and,
during
make public comment.
public.
They can't sit, they
all
can't,
right,
you know.
well, whatever the rules are.
Yeah.
I think if we could have them there, it would be a real plus.
So that actually comments more. We set when the retreat is, we should set it in March next year. You know, we shouldn't set it in January. It's just gonna be an issue year to year.
Mm.
Right? You know, we did it this time around. I think that's great. Still invite them. But it also is a little bit of a teaser, like you're definitely gonna be in. Maybe they don't get in. Maybe the mayor doesn't approve them. So
Right, we just have to.
And they're probably
It's
not gonna
complicated.
wanna sit there for this whole, it's different than a formal meeting, so,
Mhm.
you know, but we can't. So I don't think it would be appropriate.
Growing
for a
pains.
retreat.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be interesting to also, I think the retreat will be a really great time to discuss the different work groups. Like I know
Oh, yeah.
DEIA
On
might
the agenda.
happen, something might happen to that, but maybe with all these people interested, like we talked about, like we can have outside people on these work groups, and that might be a good way to like
Yes.
start to roll the conversation like, okay, if you want to get involved, this is what involvement looks like. These are the things we're working on, and that might be a good way as like a little pipeline for the future. And to have, you know, some people don't stick around, and that's okay, but getting their help in the meantime is still much needed, I think, so.
So we could identify at the retreat who of all these people that are interested would be good for which committees. And if they don't get on the full commission, we could still approach them for committee. work.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I should also note that the chairs always can reach out to the mayor with their recommendations. And that the mayor appreciates receiving recommendations from the chair of the committee always
Okay.
About.
So we should just make sure the folks who are applying let us know when their application is in, so we can
Recommend.
follow up on that with the mayor. Because I think that's what,
Right.
yeah, we were.
Because it doesn't
we
work
didn't
so well
really know
if
what was
we,
happening.
right.
Yes, and we should make sure, like, if you have people who are extremely interested, they need to get their applications in. Because as soon as I walk to the clerks
It's
in
gonna
a
be.
few minutes,
Yep.
then it's all suddenly on everybody's radar that there's some openings.
I never heard of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to ask
Yeah,
a
but that's
question?
why
Yeah.
I'm saying that the mayor's, if you two say to the mayor, we want 3S and we want players ring, he's not gonna say no.
He does, oh,
He has the prerogative.
he does, he might,
He knows a lot of people. What if someone from another organization says, hey, I want to
Right.
be on that commission?
All right.
And he sees some reason, right, like.
Yeah.
Right. For.
yeah, it happens,
Mhm.
so. Don't feel like,
All right,
You know,
okay.
Yeah.
Precedent.
I have a question. I'm gonna let her ask it.
Okay, so Jen and I are talking about balance in our lives earlier. And obviously this is gonna continue to get very high priority. When does the next term end? So are we looking 3 years from now?
When you said
'Cause now
we
we're in
our
our second
We
term.
don't know where our
you're
second
1
term
year
is.
into your second term.
Okay, so it's
So you've got 2 more years.
2028.
Into our second term.
Yeah, 2028. You got us. Okay. Just trying to prioritize.
Yeah.
my life, that's all.
when you.
Yeah, you-
No.
We don't want you to quit.
No, this is a great group, great commission.
2028.
2028-ish, yeah, somewhere
Well,
around there.
January 2028 or
Okay,
December 2027, however that's set.
Okay.
I mean, technically, they all expired December. So,
Me as well.
So,
Yes.
Okay.
So-
did you want to ask the question?
Me, Karen.
why expire at the end of the year? Is it-
With us at the end of
you're
next year.
next year. So next year in January of 2027 or
December of.
So.
December of 2026.
26.
Yeah.
You get it
And then
every
27, I-
term expires.
You need to put it in an
We should
application.
put that in the notes, I think
For the
that's
following
important.
So, yeah, I tried to
No.
balance it out.
These questions.
I know.
I just thought, like,
And I'm glad someone has an answer for you.
Thank you.
My question still lies around the terminology is such that our terms have expired. Does that, I mean, do we need to codify anything that says terms will continue until those positions are filled?
no, that's city,
SOP.
that's in the ordinance, in the city ordinance. And 3 years is an assumption, but maybe in January, if we have rules for the committee, we can put that in the rules that the terms are 3 years.
Okay.
And that you feel, because that can be in the committee rules. And ultimately, we could put it in the ordinance if we ever decide we have enough changes, if we want to put it.
Sure.
It's, no, the number of years, it's not. It's just kind of an assumption. That's the standard across the city. There's only one board, by the way, that has more than 3-year terms. It's the Board of Adjustment, the zoning board, has 5-year terms. Everyone else has 3-year terms. So that's why it's kind of assumed it's 3 years.
All right.
Well, thank you for doing all
Yes,
that,
thank
like,
you.
for us
Hey,
and.
You,
make
can
some
you send
decisions.
me that list to make sure I get it right?
Yes.
Great.
I will. Okay.
Thank you.
Counselor.
Okay, moving on, we were gonna talk, we have on here meeting schedule for next year, including discussion on meeting. So,
I think it's just raising to the group. This year, we went out on the road. I found it valuable to see these other spaces like community
Mhm.
campus and
Mhm.
senior center. So the question was, do we want to do that again for next year? And are there ideas? Yes.
My suggestion is, for 2026 is that we get out to all the art venues. There's a way to do that. So we're at Music Hall, we're at Prescott, we're at PMAC, we're at New Hampshire Theater Project. I love being in the other city buildings, but I think the more we're within our art venue environment, the more we can advocate and so on and so forth.
That issue came up early on in the discussions because it needs to be a public space for a public city meeting.
Yeah,
Is that gonna be an issue at other venues?
You can set up field trips so that it doesn't impact your meeting schedule. It's still, there's a notice of quorum that's full form I fill out for the city clerk that said there may be a quorum in this location. We had a situation with the EDC where they showed up someplace and people showed up to go on the tour because it's a public meeting. So that's just to understand that if someone wants to invite themselves, they can, but that shouldn't be a problem if they're interested and they want to be there. But that's just a way to not, there's a lot of venues, however you want to do it. You have flexibility to do what I'm calling field trips. The EDC goes to P's development once a year. They go to different places. We went to the Treadwell Mansion.
Yeah.
It was not a meeting. But it was mentioned and the press showed up and we couldn't say no because it was a public meeting. So.
if it's specified as a meeting though, the other thing is that it needs to be a
It's-
Zoom, right? It needs to be a Zoom.
No.
No?
All right, if you're offsite, the Zoom is,
But it's preferable.
it's preferable, yes,
It's not
if at all
required.
possible.
Of course.
It would be preferable because you want to make sure that the public has access to your
Yeah.
meetings. So that's why you want to have, if
So
possible.
Counselor, feel free to correct me, but like if you're gonna do a tour, right, an education for this commission, and you're committed to not discussing any business, I mean, there's ways to just telegraph what this is about, right? So you just gotta be overly clear with it, and that's fine. But if you're going out, if you're going to meet with people, let's say at a particular venue and understand better what they do and what their goals are, you're not necessarily sitting around a table and you're not necessarily able to put it on Zoom, but you're doing the commission's work. That's me talking. I'm not I don't sit in the city clerk's
But it's not
office.
an official meeting.
That's my language. But Counselor Cook may be
Yeah.
correcting me on that.
You can.
You can have a quorum without having a meeting.
Yeah, but you can also have official meetings off-site.
Yeah.
As long as you notice quorum, you
Right.
notice the location, it's
Right.
open to the public. It would be great if somebody used Zoom and recorded the meeting so that the city could post the meeting. That's the important piece. But that would also just note that limits you to organizations that have that capability.
Right.
So,
I will say on the record, we have had EDC meetings where we have not had Zoom, they have not been recorded. We took the notes, we took the minutes, we published everything appropriately.
Yeah.
And we've done that too. There were a few times where we were on the road this past year
Yep.
where.
Yep, so you have flexibility when you get to your annual retreat.
So it's doable, and I totally agree,
Yeah.
we should lean into arts and cultural organizations as
Yeah.
our locations next year.
Right.
Hey, everybody, I unfortunately have to jump off in a minute. I had a scheduling change this week and I gotta go pick up my little boys from school.
All right.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Jason, happy holidays.
You too, guys.
Are there any other venues that folks are particularly interested in?
Yeah, the Neum would be cool.
Yeah, Athenaeum.
Just thinking for speakers too, for next year, Archive Center
Mhm.
update
sure.
for everyone.
I think Rep Ring, Pontine. I mean, we have so many of them.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. We
It's
have
like-
some great ones.
There are a lot of organizations.
Right, yeah, that have.
I guess because we have some time, but like if we could figure out, like, if we kept our pattern of being here every other month,
Mhm.
we'd be here in February. And so I think it's just maybe if everyone's okay with Emma or I reaching out for someplace for March, just get on the calendar, and then in January, we can plan a few more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, are we confirmed for January 9th for the retreat? On
Yeah.
that work meeting? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We are.
And where is the retreat?
Is that community campus?
Okay, just making sure I had that right.
In a room with windows, I understand.
With windows, and we can bring snacks.
And we can bring
What we
snacks.
were told, yeah.
We're like light and food.
Not in the movie room, got it.
What more could you want?
Okay.
All right, well, the next on the agenda is any burning issues. Does anyone have anything they want to bring to the group?
I wrote the blurb for the stickers. Should I read it? And do we have to approve it? Or I don't know. Are we just good to send it?
We're all here, why not?
Yeah.
Russia has a real burning issue. I sent it to you, Sean, but you can just disregard. Okay, so for the announcement, I wrote, the city of Portsmouth is proud to launch our new We Support the Arts window cling. It's a simple way for local businesses to show their support for Portsmouth's vibrant arts and cultural community. By displaying the cling, you're helping celebrate artists, organizations, and creative energy that makes our city such a special place to live, work, and visit. Interested businesses can pick up the cling from City Hall, ? Or secondary location or person. Thank you for supporting the arts in Portsmouth from the Portsmouth Arts and Cultural Commission. The only difference between that for the paper that would go with the cling is I don't tell them where to pick it up because they would be together. And I said how to apply your window cling with instructions on how to apply it. And thank you for supporting the arts in Portsmouth from us.
Is it really called a window cling?
Final
Yeah.
cling, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have a question to the first sentence. You say the city of Portsmouth is proud too.
Mhm.
So we're speaking on behalf of the city of Portsmouth.
Is that right for the announcement?
We
That
can't.
caught my ear too. I think saying the Arts and Cultural
Okay.
Commission, the
The city of Portsmouth's
Arts and Cultural Commission is
Yeah, yeah,
down to.
Yeah.
That way you're linked, but you're not speaking for the city manager.
Okay,
I was
perfect.
gonna say, otherwise it's a lot more.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm happy to have people come pick them up here. I'm a little hard to find, but just, I don't know what the easiest way to do it is, or,
Well, definitely you could say the chamber.
The chamber.
Chamber.
yeah, I think the chamber
Mhm.
is. Whether they're a member or not, they can go in and get a sticker.
Should I say City Hall or the chamber, or should I just put the chamber?
I think just the chamber,
Okay.
just because City Hall is confusing to people.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and the only place that people would know to go here is the clerk's office, and the clerk's office can't keep
Yeah.
track of all of that.
Right.
That's a lot. Everyone started giving the clerk stickers.
When that's finalized, you can send it to me. I can include it all in the whole language in the minutes.
Perfect.
That way everybody can see
Contact
it.
you though, Sean, if. they wanted
Absolutely.
it? So
Sure.
maybe say, or contact.
Contact me and I can let them know. I can either run one out to them or. The chamber is 500 Market Street.
Should we give them the sticker in recognition? It's almost like a little bit of a thank you. So in recognition of your support of the arts, the Arts and Cultural Commission, City of Portsmouth is pleased to give tea. I don't know, because I like it's like you, I can't remember what it's like, you supports the art supports you. I'm hearing more like it's coming from us, but I don't know, I want them to feel like they're being thanked and recognized and appreciated for their support of the arts in some way, shape, or form.
I like that.
It's mutual.
Yeah, we just don't want them to think they have to pay anything
True,
for that or
okay.
contribute.
For free.
Right, for, just by posting this.
I think it's a
We are
good
giving-
concept that we're giving them this because we're recognizing their support.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And all-
It's a it's a good spin on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, they don't have to do anything. They've
Right.
already been doing it.
Yeah, we're
Right, they're displaying at the window, they're
Yeah.
recognizing that they've been recognized.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
we're recognizing you as our supporters, and we want the community to know that you are a big supporter of the arts.
Yeah, and I think the retailers specifically would appreciate the partnership, the collaboration.
Mm.
You know, they understand why people come here. If
Yeah.
people aren't here, they're not going to their stores.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is just the beginning of a good conversation.
Do you remember what you said?
Something around in recognition of your support of the arts, or because you've supported the arts, or you've been a supporter of the arts and culture.
Okay.
Basically, we're giving them.
Almost like the beginning, like at the
I
very
could put
beginning.
that in there.
sentence. Yeah,
Oh,
and assuming everybody qualifies, right? There's no. I can't even think of any organization that isn't supporting the arts in some way, shape, or form, so I guess.
We have guilt them into
But
support.
do you think that?
That's exactly right.
If you'd like to support us even
Like
more.
director.
You think they just stick in there and say they support the arts and then call it a thing? Not that I'm cynical or. Sorry.
Another update. Okay. So I talked with the poet laureate folks, and we're gonna meet in January to start full planning for the poetry month, window poetry and windows project. Hopefully to launch by February, asking for support for that proposal. So, because we'll have to go around and identify locations that are interested and make sure we have the support, and then we'll have to launch the request out to poets to submit work.
Mhm.
So,
Great.
I have an update.
yes.
The Chamber Collaborative is also looking to launch a music weekend.
Right.
Some of you
Oh,
may have
yeah.
heard about that.
Yeah.
Like basically publicize, promote the first weekend in March to say that there's gonna be just tons of live music and people should come to Portsmouth maybe at a time when you hadn't thought of coming to Portsmouth. Because that's coming out in the slow
It's
season.
The
So.
March, it's the Thursday through Sunday.
Not calling it a festival because that's very much very involved with logistics, but there's coordinating music at any possible venue to give people a reason to come here.
This is
And
one.
it sounded like a very open and flexible, like if there's a space that wants to participate, great. They're doing the collaboration, right, the
Yeah.
promotion of it.
Yeah,
So when is this again?
March sixth,
Fifth
fifth through
to
eighth.
eighth.
they've been talking about the chamber for a while and because we talk about the ebbs and flows and the low
And
seasons
who's
and the
organizing?
shoulder season. Chamber comes.
Chamber.
Do you know when it's gonna officially go from looking to do this to
Yeah.
we are doing this?
I think this year.
We said the chamber board meeting, the kickoff would be, I think in January.
20
Isn't
this year.
there there's like a business after hour or one of the chamber events at PMAC?
Yes.
I think they're hoping to announce it there,
Okay.
but double check with Ben on that.
I have a big conflict that whole week, so I know, like I've been hearing about, it, but I need to know if
Yeah.
I should get out or not.
But they're calling it Here and There.
Yep.
Like HEAR, Here and There, festival, or not
Alright,
festival,
I'm getting the sense.
Music weekend.
Music weekend, not festival.
not festival, unfestival, unfestival.
Is there, just reflecting back on the cultural plan where we got a lot of feedback from musicians, are there places where they can just kind of play that's free and spontaneous and all that? Well, is there any venue anywhere in the city that if you have a startup band or startup musician that's like, hey, I'd like to participate in this, but maybe they're not lined up with a official gig, but it's just some place where they can actually play the
Jam.
Yes.
Jam,
There's
like-
the jam on Tuesday nights at the press room for jazz jam.
related to this event.
this
I'm just
event?
wondering.
Speaking of that, I mean, maybe community campus would want to be involved.
Just thinking about accessibility, is there a
Right.
place that they could go and not have to pay a fee or whatnot and just.
I mean, I think getting word out to places, like I keep thinking about Strawberry Bank, which would not be a central focus of this at all, but is there a way that we could hook in? I think a lot of organizations would like to hear the groups first, but
Yeah.
but there could be some sites around the city where it ends up, the site wants to participate.
Yeah,
Be involved in some way.
Are they paying the
Mhm.
musicians?
Who?
Chamber.
No.
Not the chamber, but the sites.
They're just promoting.
Yep.
If everyone's saying, yes, we'll make sure we book music like we normally do, and some places already have.
Right.
They just want to promote to the visitors that there's gonna be an abundance of music this particular weekend in Portsmouth.
There are a lot of venues. So we do a model kind of like this for the Seacoast Jazz Society for our festival in the fall. It's in August, and we produce the event in the park with Prescott Park Arts Festival. But there are different venues that have jazz that weekend, and they do all their planning. We help them recruit music,
Yeah.
bands if they need assistance,
They book them.
but they book them, they pay for them, it's their show.
Yeah.
But we're happy to promote.
It's the gas station.
Well, we also have,
It's in the same place. Everyone knows where to go for gas.
you also, when is it, in summer,
No.
Porch Fest also.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, if you've never been to Porch Fest, it's a lot of
It's
fun.
great.
Especially myself on the training, but, no, that's, and I think it's starting to get some traction now.
Yeah.
Really underutilized, at least the first year was pouring rain.
Mhm. Yeah.
But, that's another thing that we should help support. It's really a lot of fun.
We'd like to get to a place where Porch Fest is paying, like to get to a place where Porch Fest can pay the bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Uh,
for musicians' sake.
Yeah.
They should all be.
Right,
There's also,
exactly.
there's a lot that happens, because Jazz City just jazz in the streets every single weekend in July.
Mhm.
And in 3 locations downtown, there's jazz every single weekend for 4 weekends, and that's free to the public. It's on the streets, it's on the sidewalk.
We have no rules against busking
No, well, no, we actually pull a permit from the city for
for
this.
that.
Yeah, so but we pay the bands. So
Mhm.
so that's just like charity. It's free music on the streets. But I think there's a lot of that goes on that people aren't aware of. That
Mhm.
there's a lot of music. There are a lot of organizations that produce music.
But that could, I was gonna say a great thing for coming back in January in the communications group. Which again, how do we kind of help get word out about these amazing things that are going on?
Yeah.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know about Porch Fest?
Anyone else have any burning issues or upcoming events?
Just a follow-up and a question, because I know there were a couple different city council meetings. The banner program, at what point should we be ready to jump into action and help?
We are waiting for a report back from the city manager's office in 2.5 months now.
Okay.
We passed it in the November meeting.
So she has that long.
She has 3 months to get back to, there's there's holidays in there. There were 2 holidays, major holidays in there. 3 technically, 4, maybe 5. I don't know. There are a lot of major holidays between November and December. So we asked for a 3-month report back.
Okay.
So what does a report back mean?
She comes back to the council and tells us how she's decided to implement the program. So that's what we asked for her to come back
Okay.
with implementation guidelines for how she wants to proceed.
So it could be a.
You had something else, Eli?
Just
Yeah,
setting
call
the
agenda item.
agenda for the retreat.
Okay.
Is that something that we all comment on, or is it just on you guys?
We had solicited last month
Mm-hmm.
for ideas, so I think we had a draft being constructed, but is there anything else? Well, I mean, I say anything else, people probably need a reminder of that and I don't have it right in front of me.
I think we were gonna certainly revisit, well, we had talked about looking back to the cultural plan and
Yeah.
kind of revisiting the dot exercise we've done the past few years. And reestablishing work groups based off of that, because I
Right.
know, especially with your DEAI needing to revisit that. So work through both of those things again. Oh, what else?
And
did
I
we
think
talk
there
about?
was a section of codifying what has been accomplished, so we can get that
Yes.
out, right, the annual report. And then the goals for the future year were the big categories. Yeah,
3 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
right, exactly. But if there's anything specific that anyone thinks of with
No, just, it's a public meeting, so is there a public comment section? Do we have to have those kind of things in our day? Planned in our day?
I think we did, last year, I have a note, I'm looking at we did it as a work session where
That's
no
right,
voting
right.
happened. So it was not a public meeting. We were able to have a work session.
Is it currently
That's
listed
so
as a
good.
public meeting or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it is. So I think we're gonna do the same.
Right,
The
I
plan
would say
is
the
to
same as
structure it
long
the
as that.
same.
Give ourselves the flexibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to do notice of quorum. People can't show up, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city council does this, we have a retreat too. And people can actually our retreat's the day after yours.
Thanks. So I think I need to do that.
So-
I just sent Jen my list of 10 businesses, so prompting the rest of you guys.
Well, thank you.
Great.
Your email will remind me to send it to everyone. All right.
I'll
Great,
go
great.
wherever anybody tells me to go.
And I see we've got our meetings for February and March on here as well.
Yes.
So add to your calendars.
And we have the full calendars.
Yes, the
that-
full calendar has been published, sent wherever it,
Get it to the city clerk yet, so they'll be
Can
populating the
we
calendar.
can make sure we bring that to the retreat so everyone
Yeah.
has it. Because there were a few dates we had to change because of various holidays, so.
So like the February 9th is a week earlier than it normally would be because of holiday.
That's
I think there were 3 months,
Yes.
and I think they all went earlier.
Unless there's anything else, we will meet again Friday, January 9th at 1 at Community Campus. We will send out an agenda beforehand and anything else that needs to be included. If there's anything else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'm happy to bring snacks.
So moved.
Great,
Be a
snacks
snack bringer
included.
or
Second,
maker.
make sure that makes it in the minutes, but yeah, thank you.
And seconded.
Okay, great.
Snacks.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Yes, have a great day.